What is good, my people? We are back with another live episode. I'm coming on just to holler at y'all for a little bit. I'm not gonna be on here too long tonight. If y'all wanna call in, you can call in. The number is 804-601-4015. I'm not gonna be too long tonight. I was actually supposed to put out a video this weekend, but I didn't get to it. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually never started on it. I'm sorry, I just, didn't do it. But I'm about to get to it. But I definitely wanted to come on and holler at the people before I get started. I'm not gonna lie, it takes a lot. So definitely make sure y'all subscribe to the backup channel, the Forecast Radio 24, to make sure y'all what's going on, time to work, get the notification when I upload the video. Like I said, it's probably be another day or two, depending on how long it take a long time to put these videos up. So you know but that's coming soon, and make sure y'all subscribe to that. But I definitely want to come talk to y'all, come holler at the people real quick. And we always got time to address major issues and getting up out of this situation, right? Because while we in a position that we're in, as far as prisoners of war, right now, these people are going to make sure, and for this whole time, it has been not only, a lot of people see it as a spiritual war, which encompasses all of that, but one of the main ways that they keep us in this subservient position is economic warfare that they've continued to do on us throughout the time that we have been involved in this system. What's going on, Melanin always? How you doing? And I definitely want y'all to call in. Like I said, I'm not going to be on here too long tonight. I just wanted to come talk to y'all real quick before I get started on the next video. But financial warfare is the main mission, one of the main goals, one of the main missions of white supremacy that they've always had, to instill this poverty mindset into everybody else who they try to take over. They want to keep you in a position of lack. We live in a place of abundance, but they got to keep you thinking that we live in a poverty, scarcity world. When really we should be fed up that we are in this system, right? Instead, we say, well, there is always something, there's always going to be good and bad. There's always going to be this and that. No, all of this stuff is relatively new. Like, who has the audacity to think that they own the land to tell you that you need to be paying them for something that comes from nature? And they got us thinking that, oh, well, it's just a part of life. This is just how it is. No, this is a psychopath who convinced you that they are in charge of literally natural resources, natural to the earth. Not only natural to the earth, but most abundant where you come from. So why is it everywhere that people that look like us, every time you go to these places, they're beautiful, aesthetically, when you look around, tropical, nice weather and all of that. But when you go to the towns, right, them people is straight up poor. See, they like to equivalent, they try to make it equal that, these people are just savages. And again, you got to understand, with psychopaths, that's all kind of projection. But they try to make you think that these people are savages, that they'll rob you, that they'll do this, that they'll do that. When really, them people have been robbed themselves. And yeah, if they're looking for economic opportunities. And with the system of white supremacy, they know that there's certain people that you can get and certain people that you can't get. But it's a reason why It's no coincidence. There's a reason why all of those places are starving economically. They need you dependent on them when really they are the ones who are dependent on you. But who do you think you are to feel like you can control how someone lives? Like in the system that we're living in, that, all of these dumb Europeans who think they're a part of the system and they're working for a corporation. Part of that, the main part of that, is to keep all of us poor. Now, the reason why we gotta put aside our tribal differences, because everybody got tribal differences, but why we gotta put aside ours more with more urgency and more desperation than others, because we're at the bottom of that list. But for a few people to be wealthy and for everybody else to be poor, how do people not feel some kind of way about that? And people do feel some kind of way, but obviously they're not mad enough to do something about it. Right? You look at the people who are in these areas as if they're a problem, not the people who created these areas. Now, none of this stuff existed until a group of people created it. But who in their right mind would want to see people living like that other than a psychopath? That never made sense to me. And it never made sense how enough people wasn't ready to stand up and do something about it. How the many never overran the few. But that's because the few managed to convince the many that they are few. Now we're all poor, but we're all separated. Now, of course, it's been hundreds of years. Everybody else made their choice, and it's time for us to make ours. We need to be on code with ourselves. But we have to understand that we are the many. We shouldn't be subjugated to another person's system that doesn't even fit in with our normal, natural way of life. Right? The way our hair grows out of our scalp is illegal to this country. And we will sit there and tell our children not to be who you are so you can fit into somebody else's system. Right? Don't grow your hair like that. Make sure you dress a certain way that Europeans say is okay. Why? So you can earn a little bit of money to be able to get back to work, really. But their whole system is designed to keep you and all of their flunkies poor. The same people helping them enforce it, they're doing the same thing to them, but they're stuck on their own plantation. That's their problem, right? They need to take that up with Ben Shapiro or something. But especially in, the inner, quote unquote, inner cities, right? They're trying to, especially now in this time, they're trying to force Black people out of certain areas into other areas. And it's so sick that either tell you you make too much money to live in the spot or too little money to live in the area. But what kind of system wants you to have to only be able to afford a certain amount of your money to be able to live in the area, right? And I'm not talking about housing vouchers. I'm talking about trying to live in a place where the rent is a set amount for everybody, but they still telling you you can't make enough. Now, who does that other than somebody trying to keep you down? And what kind of person would, or entity, or whatever, would want to keep everybody down so that they can stay up? And the better question is, why would we want to fit into a society like that? Why are we reprimanding each other if we happen to get out of line from this system? Why? Because we may lose that money that we get, even though we're living uncomfortably in the system. And you can be a trillionaire, and if you have to go out into the streets, You can get pulled over by a random cop who don't know who you are and see you in a nice car and get jealous. But you can't say that. You got to say not all cops are bad. That's being irresponsible to say stuff like that. And that's why you see, no matter how much money you got, how many opportunities you created, you still have to walk the line of white supremacy, because that shows you the real power. It ain't just about the paper dollars that they're giving you. Right? When somebody like LeBron James, who has a lifetime contract, right, for millions of dollars, created millionaires, created billionaires, got his own everything. He speaks up about a cop being held accountable, and they come at him. They come at him because even though he is not, he is a sports player who has his own opinion about things, as a free person should and can be able to do. But they got to give us our leader. So they got to make us think LeBron James is our leader, right? So he can't do certain things. And the thing is, even though he has all of this money already made, he still cannot mess that up. He still has to appease a certain white base, but a base that would hate him if he didn't know how to play basketball. And you got people on this level that feel like they have to apologize because they feel like they got him by, they got him by the throat. But at the end of the day, they're still doing all of this for pieces of paper, right, with dead people on them that would have hung all of us, lynched us, enslaved us, whatever. All of us. A bunch of gay murderers, right, criminals, thugs, who they put on money, and we fighting each other over it. No matter how much of it you got, you still back down if they tell you to. Right? They ain't paying LeBron James and natural resources. They ain't giving them, the rights to land or whatever. They giving them pieces of paper with their dead thug ancestors on them. Because if they were giving them this money, which a lot of people equate with power, why would you sit there and apologize and back down and and just for speaking out against a black child being murdered? A black child. Right now, they can speak out, like people like Brett Favre. He talking about he don't want to watch football anymore because people got their own opinions. But then here he is on a radio show talking about his opinion about how that cop Derek Chauvinist, or whatever his name is, Derek Chauvinist, shouldn't have been guilty, really, defending him, talking about I'm not defending him. Because with a psychopath, it's do as I say, not do as I do. But he telling him, or telling black people, that they shouldn't be kneeling, they shouldn't be speaking up for their own, but they will sit there and speak up for their own. And who's out there asking him to apologize? They'll call him racist. He'll say, no, I'm not racist. But we ain't sitting up there coming for them like, oh, you better apologize or you're out. The same way that they're doing to LeBron James. No, he's playing to his audience because it's okay for them. And arguably, LeBron James probably has more money than Brett Favre does. Who knows? But it's not about that. It's about the overall power of it. That's the point. They have to keep you in your place. It's not about money. Slaves made money. There was some rich slaves, right? Especially, because they always had to come for us for entertainment. And I'm not even going to say the slaves that they made fight each other, because that's the mindset they try to instill in you. They make two grown men, women, whatever, children, like cockfighting. They make them fight each other, and they even gave the money if they won. Right? It's not about the money; it's about the power. Right? You still a slave, even if I give you money. And LeBron James had to sit up there and take what he said back, right? For asking for accountability for a black child being murdered, but they can speak up for a psychopath murderer, and it's okay. Nobody says nothing. And of course, they're not going to say anything, but why aren't we saying something? Because, a lot of us think, oh, well, we just got to go along to get along. No, they need you at the end of the day. When you realize the power that you have, why they feel the need to keep you in your place. Because if you were nothing, believe me, they would not be doing all of the things that they do in order to maintain power and control over you, other than the fact of being a psychopath and they need to be in power and control of everything. But they realize how they built their wealth. They understand that. And now you see them getting more and more bold, right? You see politicians like that dude, Tom Cotton, or whatever his name is, sitting up there talking about, slavery was good. They should be teaching about the good parts of slavery. A couple of them. They can sit up there and say that. And these are elected officials, right? And that shows you, because they like to say, oh, well, not all of us are like this. Somebody's out here lying. Somebody's out here protesting and voting in the same people that they're protesting against. And by the way, once we realize the sick mindset that we'll realize that we're sitting here voting in the same politicians that we're protesting against too. Because we can go back down the line. I'm not even going to get into the whole Joe Biden thing, how he went against black people every step of the way up until right now. And he can tell y'all, well, niggas, you better chill out, because, a kid being murdered, 4 or 5 people getting murdered after this case wasn't enough. But you see an Asian person get punched in the face one time, and it's enough to pass a whole bill. They said 1 year of this is enough. What is it? Close to 500 years? And we ain't saying that's enough, but we still waiting on somebody else to pass a law or whatever. We still waiting on fair chances, fair, equal opportunity. And we're going to be waiting for a very long time for that. Right? We need to vote for us. Right? We can make our own whatever. Right? Whatever field that we feel. That's the thing. We don't realize we can do whatever we want to do. There's nothing stopping us from creating our own organizations right now. But the issue is, like LeBron James, and I use the example of what Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon had to go out and apologize for what he said to Jewish people. Right? He didn't say anything bad about them. He just said the truth. They are on stolen land. We can go back in history and see when and they got that land, how and who they took it from. They're on stolen property, right? We can go into this whole history of it. Jewish people are the first people to actually put slaves on credit. They were slave owners. They were heavy in, financing the slave trade. Now, don't get it twisted like, Jews were most of it. They were just another group of white people in it competing with the other group of white people. Believe that. They're no different. Now, how they see each other is none of my business. But Nick Cannon had to sit there and apologize for what he said, even though everything he said is straight factual, because they're never going to come to you about the actual facts. Then it's about how they feel. you've offended a community. Now you can talk about the fact of all of your people getting killed. Well, that's the past. We gotta let go of the history. Blah blah blah. But you talk about a fact about them. Well, that makes me feel bad. So now you have to apologize. Well, you know what? It makes me feel bad when people sit there and justify what happened to Trayvon Martin. Makes me feel bad when they say, we shouldn't be speaking up for each other. All of that. But do they have to apologize? No, only you have to apologize. Um, right. I mean, that's going to happen, but there's a reason why, because they have to keep you poor and unintelligent. They have to poke your eyeballs out if they catch you reading a book, right? Nobody's allowed to do business with you. But, with the whole Nick Cannon thing and LeBron James, like, now we got to ask ourselves, why do black people in these certain positions always apologize and always fold to white supremacy? Now, we can easily say it was fear, because there have been countless who have it. That's what make Muhammad Ali one of the greatest ever. Why is he going to go in a war to enforce white supremacy somewhere else? And they're calling him nigger here. They won't let him go to the bathroom here. And he stood on that. He ain't apologized, but you see so many today apologizing. And we already understand that you're dealing with a psychopath. You can't really talk to him. You can't negotiate. You just have to do what you have to do. But with our part in that, we have to ask ourselves, right? Are we there for the people who do stand up for us? Do we hold them down? Do we make sure that they're good for life? Right? Like that judge that was in Iowa, right? He didn't let a black defendant have an all-white jury. Right? Now we know it was racism because he lived and was being tried in a district that had the black population in it. So to have no black people on the jury was definitely suspect. But what did they do? They made him apologize for it. Then they suspended him simply for doing his job, not letting him have an all-white jury. But, some people spoke out about it. Some people did something about it. But we don't have anything to have our own people's back. Now, if Nick Cannon said, okay, I'm not doing nothing, and so they say, okay, well, we're going to take all these shows away from you. Because they can do what they want now. They can start saying, we're going to freeze your money, freeze your bank account, and all of that. Now, are we as a people going to start holding our own down to make sure that those people are good? Especially if they're standing up for black people, to make sure that they're good? Or are we going to be like, damn, that's messed up, and let it keep going? Because a lot of times that's the real fear that especially black people with money have, that if they don't have anything, that black people as a whole aren't going to be there for them. Now, me, I personally have the utmost faith in the people, or, I don't even know if I could be doing this. But right, and that's another thing. I'm glad you said that, because they like to say, you have a black president or whatever. But number one, either election, tell me which election that Barack Obama won the white vote in. Please tell me that, because they did not vote for him, especially white women, by the way, who we count in the minority. But the problem with that is, when we start getting on the tip like Martin Luther King was at the end, when he started talking about, okay, now we need our money, right? He started saying, every group that came over here, they got their money. Jewish people, they got their money. White people, they got their money. It's time for us to get our money. And he was assassinated. They do that to keep you in the position. They can't have you making more than they make, right? That's a major reason what happened in Black Wall Street, right? They talk about that white woman saying that brother touched her in the elevator or whatever, but really it was them looking at the black people like, damn, that nigga got a piano in his house, and I don't have anything. That's not right, because the wealthy Europeans convince the poor Europeans that they're on the same team, and they have them working as their front yard dogs, right? Guarding them. They're nothing but guard dogs to them. And they keep that wealth that they've amassed off of shedding people's blood. That dude, it's time. And y'all can call in, by the way. The number is 804-601-4015. I'm not going to be on here too much longer. I'm just coming on here to talk real quick. But that dude said it's going to take more than just coming together. The black family has been destroyed from the core. It will take black men and black women loving each other enough to maintain an individual code. And that's exactly the point. See, what they have done is try to destroy us of all of our history of everything, try to reduce us to nothing but slavery, teach us that history starts with slavery with us. That's what they tried to do, to keep you destroyed, right? To separate the family, the black man, the black woman, to destroy your communities. But a funny thing happened when your back is against the wall and there's no illusion of inclusion, right? You realize, well, hey, I better protect my brother over here. I better protect my sister. We all we got over here. We got to start fighting for each other, because they're coming in here lynching people, attacking us, all of that. So what does the government do? What is that counter to the civil rights movement? Well, we'll start to push this integration thing. Then we're going to separate the black families, right? And then they're already starved economically. We're going to keep hitting them, right? See, we've already burnt down their neighborhoods, and whatever we didn't burn down, we passed the Highway Act, 1950s, so we can just build highways right through the economic part of their neighborhoods, right? So now they're really hurting right now economically. So it'll be easier for us to introduce this new thing, the projects, right? Okay, black women, we'll give you free food, we'll give you a place to stay, even healthcare. But you can't have the black man in the house. Now, it's easy for us to judge us. Hindsight is 2020, right? But if you have a newborn baby, right, you can't work. And as a black man, there's probably 5 jobs in the city for 30,000 black men, right? You can't eat, you can't do nothing. What are you gonna do? Now, some people stood strong and did what they had to do. But for some people, the best move, okay, just stay here for a little while. Just do this for a little while. Because the whole system, the whole time, for hundreds of years, is about emasculating you, emasculating the man, and doing the same thing to the woman. And now you got money problems. And then once we have these neighborhoods divided, now we can just throw crack and all of that in the middle of it and lock them up. Because, before that, right, there was no jobs, but it was illegal to be homeless. They would arrest you for being homeless and could give you any amount of time. So they would lock people up and put them right back into the fields working. Because why the 13th Amendment never officially banned slavery in America. So now a poor people out here, somebody who's poor, he might go steal a pig or something. And now he's getting life for that. Meanwhile, somebody's over here lynching somebody and the police don't even investigate because they're probably a part of the lynching. Because the economic warfare is still the same thing. And we're talking about what's going on? Police or pledge. I always say your name wrong. But yeah, they would have these people in a position of desperation, right? And charge them as a full-blown criminal. And then not only that, then you have the whole propaganda of, oh, this black man, black woman, the black people are thieves and all of this, right? And so then they lock them up for life for being homeless, right? And not only that, once they locked up the parents, they took the children and put them into slavery, right? It wasn't no foster care. And sometimes they even made it up if they wanted to. But the whole time they create your poverty and then say, look at what these savages are doing to each other in a poverty mindset. And then they sit there and run their own false propaganda to themselves and to their guard dogs that these people are savages. These people are thieves, says the person on stolen land who got all they got from kidnapping somebody. But let them tell it, you are the thug. And if that's not a psychopath, then I don't know what is. And if anybody want to call in, you could definitely call in. The number is 804-601-4015. I'm not sure about white homelessness. Like I said, you gotta call Ben Shapiro or one of them about that. It's not my problem. My issue is the systematic attack on the black family, attacking us economically. The police shootings is nothing but a symptom, one symptom, right? If that was the flu, police shootings, maybe you throwing up or something. But it's a symptom of something greater that has to be destroyed. And I don't see how people seeing what these people do, because we all know, everybody got their conspiracies about the government, this and that, and all of that. But we know so much about them, but we don't do anything about it. Why is that? And I'm particularly talking to us because you know what? When their president, right, when Barack Obama got out of there, even though he didn't do anything for black people at all, right? All these black people were crying, I'm going to miss my president. It'll always be my president. All of this stuff, right? But they peacefully went along with it, right? When Trump went out of office, they attempted to perform a coup on the government. Now, the same government who protects them, who gives them that privilege to make them think that they're better than you. And they was ready to go on a coup because Donald Trump lost the election. Yet you see your brothers and sisters, and it could be you anytime. And that's the whole point that you got to understand. Don't let this hit home before you start talking and doing something about it. Don't let this come close to your home, right? Like our family members taking these vaccines and all of that. You don't know what's going to happen to them. And beyond that, our diets, the number one killer of us is our diets, right? We're not talking about that part because they inject stuff in their own, and the foods and everything. Now, if you knew that you can grow, because you got to understand, these people were so low that they even passed the law that said Black people weren't allowed to know about plants, right? It was illegal if you knew about plants, right? So you start growing your own food. Now you're out of their loop, out of their grid of control. And they're not gonna let you go but so far. They all right, take this call. From hello?
Hey, what's going on, good brother?
What's going on, bro?
Not much, man. Just wanted to chime in a little bit. I've been following you for a minute. I told myself when I, got a chance, this next live I'm gonna call in. We need to regulate this chat situation. We got a little white troll in there trying to deflect the, conversation, interrupt the topic.
Oh no, yeah, don't
so
even
that's kind of crazy.
Oh no,
But,
yeah, it's all good. Yeah, don't even listen to, like, if you ignore, that's what they hate the most. If you ignore them, like, it feels like they feel like they're doing something great. If you they like, oh yeah, that person, they feel like they can get to you. They can't get to you. Just if you ignore them, that's what a psychopath hates the most, being complete indifference to them. And as far as us, we got to start looking at our enemies. We got to start going into their spaces and seeing what they are saying too, because they're gonna come over here whether you see them or not. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my
opinion. Even when we do go in their spaces, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you have that one token, black dude that's always trying to impress. You know what I mean? There is no progress being done. Like, I live in a part of the, an area where, I've noticed like the black folk trying to get to, the white side of town where they're not accepted, and the white folk are tired of being in that side of town. It's so backwards. It's crazy. And I feel like, in order for us to even start anything, it has to go to the core, which is, the child support system. Well, I'd say the black family, helping build a better black family, for that matter. And then our kids, the ones that are coming after, they're so frustrated, they rebel because they see the weakness. Everybody out here trying to get theirs. Everybody trying to get theirs without operating on a code, saying, okay, you my brother, you know what I'm saying? I'd rather patronize your business, or your platform, as opposed to get my goods from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You get excuses like, oh, well, it's more convenient, cheaper price. I'm like, of course. I mean, when we started, it's going to be, a bit of a, tax on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, as the numbers grow, you know what I mean, then they can drop the prices, and it could be more, palatable to the, majority. But it just starts with that sacrifice, and not a lot of us are willing to make that. It's like you be around like Anglo-Saxons, and you have a brother that's not really on code, And say for instance, I had a situation where I was entertaining Anglo. I was trying not to be too uptight, but I really don't kick it with them like that, But homie had brought his friend in, and the dude started saying, N-word this, N-word that. I'm like, hold on, dude, watch yourself. You know what I'm saying? He jumped up saying, oh man, he cool. I'm like, bro, now just because of that, you get the fuck out of here. I mean, excuse me, you get the hell up out of here. And I can't deal with you. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be staying on court instead of you saying, yo, bro, calm down. You know what I mean? This ain't the party. You're going to sit up here and defend that bullshit.
Yeah.
The reason why and it's like even sisters, I try to date within my race, and the sisters are so delusional. Right. I had a sister tell me she was like 350 pounds talking about, that's just my perspective. I'm like, no, this is fact. You're unhealthy. You're suffering from diabetes, and you're about to have a baby out of wedlock.
Right.
These are the things that are destroying us. Talking about, it's women's right. It's it's all about women. I'm like, man, if you don't get off that bullshit, because no brother is sitting up here telling his woman, hey, babe, we got to make ends meet. Don't go to work. Stay at home. We're gonna, take your shoes off, shoot you like a cave beast, like those cave beasts treat their own. No, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Everybody else that comes into this country can have, like brother Kevin Samuels. I don't know if you listen to that brother, but he has some points on that. You know, he's like Enrique, Jose, whoever can come in this country, stand on Home Depot, and get the utmost respect from their women.
Right.
Our black women just feel like they're so educated. You know what I mean? They don't have to submit. And when I say submit, it's not like, oh, well, do everything I say. No, just cooperate.
Well,
we had a whole segment on there that said the black woman just smile at the black man. Well, I don't feel like it. But you smile at everybody else, though.
Yeah. Well,
you're at least protected.
Well, let me say this. I say this about like I heard one time I was listening to Kevin Samuels. He was like and I'm not sure if you agree or not. You know, this would be a question. He said he don't think that black men, like a random black man, should just protect a black woman. Right? Do you agree with that?
Well, I mean, when he broke it down, I understood. It's like he was just like, well, his basis on saying that was like the sister had called in and she was like, well, they call him so aggressive, so he calls and he treats her with respect. He's just real kind. I have 3 daughters. I do believe. I even there was this my neighbor downstairs. Okay, I'm not trying to go all over the place with it, but yes and a no. I kind of feel like if you want us to sit up here and be at your defense, you should sit up here and see us equal. Enrique, the white community, everybody could check them. You know what I'm saying? But black women are above reproach.
Well, look, let me say this, right? Like me, I disagree with that, and I'll say like this, and it's not about a black man.
I'm not saying, bro, real quick. I'm not saying they don't deserve our protection. Of course, if I see a sister, being done wrong, oh yeah, that's my priority.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
Because that's a reflection of me, and me having daughters. I want somebody to sit up here and run interference on that bullshit to nip it in the butt.
Right.
But it's like you can go out your way and you can't even bro, you can open your door. All right, you can open the door for a sister. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays it's changing a little bit, but it got to a point where it just got so bad to where you can open a door or you can smile at a sister. They mean mugging you.
Right.
Like I'm like, sis. I called a girl a lady a sister. I was like, how you doing, sister? Right. I ain't your sister. I'm like, whoa, shit.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And look,
I feel like it's on a pick and choose basis. It's like you finna go to like my ex.
Right.
She had this dude shoot up her house and shit. So I was like, all right, me being a man that I am, I strapped up, pulled up, went down, checked the dude. Now in retrospect, this girl sat up here, or on the other hand, this girl sat up here and threatened me, and I was like, yo, babe, why didn't you check that shit? Well, I gotta pick and choose who I see. She's too young. I'm like, there was no excuse from. See, I would have been there, blasted the dude. You know what I'm saying? Been sitting and fucking in the pen. You know what I'm saying? Trying to stand on my manhood. But when it comes just for you to sit up here and be or protect me, or at least say something. I can't put my hands on a bitch or the broad.
Well, look, let me say.
Oh no, well that's not my problem. And I'm like, oh okay. Yeah. Well, we ain't got nothing to do.
Well, cause look, I'll look at it like this. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I wouldn't even say that it's about necessarily a black man and a black woman, because we really need to get to the point where if it's a black man, a black woman, a black child, or whoever, we stand up and defend each other no matter what. Because but I would say this: I'm not as hard on, like what people would say are those kind of, because me, I look at that as like, you're it's like victim blaming, almost, like whatever way you would put it, because these people suffer from Stockholm syndrome. Is a whole system on hundreds of years of all of this stuff that they're going through, that we're going through. And I would say, look, I listen to everything, including those channels who don't like black men, black women who don't like black men. But at the end of the day, it's really a hatred thing. Now, of course, like you said, there are complaints on both sides. We all got issues to work on. But as black men, we do have to look at our part as that too. Like, because are we going to start, doing our part to build a certain society? Because a lot of it I see is that they're hurting. But you got to understand, right? How do you think, like right now, let me ask you, if it don't even have to be a cop or whoever. It could be a cop right now. If he was to bust in your house, right, and like strip search your wife and like rape her in front of you, like beat up your son, you know, even violate your daughter.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do like I've seen situations like that. Bro, like the sister that got gunned down in her apartment, they were talking about they had the Breonna Taylor situation. The dude did the right thing. But now you ain't heard nothing. You don't even know if the brother's dead or if he's alive. They just swept it under the rug. And not a lot of our stations or channels or platforms or even, you know, of the part to sit up here and make sure that the brother, you know, everything, you know, coming back out saying, hey, you know what, you know, everything is good, you know. He's been, you know, the people have been charged. He did the right thing. And I would have bust a dude. I mean, that's just me. You know, I will have to go out. I'd rather go out with my woman knowing that I protected my family and my children. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you.
Sitting up here, kowtowing like, oh, please stop. I didn't do nothing. Right. It's like it's all about it's that code. See, I'm a different. I wouldn't say.
Well, let me ask you this.
Like,
say, just for hypothetical, you know what I'm saying? Say, right, that happened, and you didn't do anything, right? The dude just violated your family, and you just sat there, you know what I'm saying? You didn't do anything. Do you think your wife would have any resentment for you?
Oh, yeah, she would have utter contempt. Now, if it's a situation where, you know, me not doing nothing, you know what I'm saying, will, you know, give us another day to fight, you know, or to pursue, you know, legal ramifications and go to therapy, you know, and see if we want to, you know, handle this or not. I mean, yeah, but, I mean, me personally, I mean, on a hypothetical sense, me personally, I'm going guns blazing, bro.
Right. But the thing is,
like just me, you know, there's not a lot of people that got the, you know what I'm saying, that got that testicular fortitude to sit up here and stand on that route.
Right, you're right about that. Yeah.
I mean, I'll try to comply as best as I can.
Right, you're right.
When I see things are getting a little bit out of hand, it's like, hey, you know, like the brother that was getting choked out, you know, everybody was standing around him. The cop, he was over here. I mean, he's just looking. And everybody's like, he didn't even have a gun pointed at nobody or nothing. I would have at least jumped on the dude or pushed him off. It probably would have saved his life.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would have been arrested. I would have been beat up or some shit. But I would have saved another brother's life, though.
Right.
But enough of us got to get messed up in order for motherfuckers to sit up here and say, you know what, enough is enough. Right. Fuck this shit.
Exactly. And that's, you know, part of the reason why that's exactly the point. You know what I'm saying? But that, you know, that goes back to what I was saying about people like LeBron James and people like Nick Cannon, because the issue is, like you said, you know what I'm saying, like you would not put up with that. But right now we are more so individually as a collective. Like we just got to face the fact as a collective, because nothing's going to change until we start admitting what we did wrong. Like individually, we're all different. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I'm pretty sure us on this channel, we stand out. We know who we are. But as a collective, we did, as men, we did not do our part in stopping this system from being employed on it. And we're
we did as much as we could with the resources that we got. We had whole cities bombed.
But we're not done, though. You know what I'm saying?
Like, currently, right now, you have an influx of, you know, and I'm not knocking my brothers and sisters. I've, you know, traveled outside, you know, and it took traveling to understand, like, the sick system that we're actually living in. I've been to Ghana. I've been around. And a lot of our youth haven't even been off their fucking block.
Right.
But they willing to die, you know what I'm saying? I looked at it like, I've seen a brother, he bucked at me. You know what I'm saying? And I told him, I was like, dude, just be cool. Like, watch your mannerisms while you talking to. You know what I'm saying? Old girl. He's like, who the fuck you talk? Da, da, da. I was like, bro, put your chest down. This ain't today. This ain't what you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh, what you finna do? Da, 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 da. I'm like, see, now, if I didn't have my, you know what I'm saying, my thought process the way I have it, you know, buddy would have caught them hands. Mm-hmm. You know, I wouldn't handle court outside with him, you know what I'm saying, to take the brother's life. But, you know, that would be my way of, you know, giving you some constructive criticism with love.
Yeah, and definitely, and you know, I'm not gonna be on here too much. I've already been 50 minutes.
Yeah, I ain't even trying to hold you, but I told myself, I was like, man, I've been following the brother for a minute, you know, and it's sad that, you know what I mean, you've been hitting home on it. I want to encourage you to keep it up, bro. like, we got so many people listening, and you get like one or two thumbs up. I'm like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? It's like that in itself should show you. It's like, yeah, it sounds good, but tomorrow I got to clock in.
Right. Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? It's a lifestyle. Being pro-black, it's not just pick and choose when I want to. Say for instance, like with this feminist bullshit that got our women fucked up. I'm a pick and choose when I'll submit to my man. It's like, no, that should be a given. You know what I'm saying? I can't pick and choose when I want to turn my masculinity up. Well, now they're making it to where did you hear that retarded shit that teacher said? If it was one of those black colleges, I can't think of it right now, but she said that she told the class that if a dude and another dude had relations, that doesn't mean they're gay. I'm like, man, it's crazy because they're gunning for our children.
Yep.
In the hardest way, and then you got these hood boogers, they sitting up here. Well, I got to go to work, and I was like, well, we need to sit up here and try to find like a basis to where we're going to the PTAs and we're sitting up here chastising, these teachers. You know what I'm saying? Like the little boy that has to dig poop out of the toilet. His mom was so mad, and all these incidents, all you see is just the women. There's no men, just the women. And hell, the women can hardly articulate themselves to be even taken seriously. But
right, yeah.
digressing that, bro. You just keep going, bro. Like, I'm gonna chime in everything. From time to time, you hear from me. Yeah, definitely, it's all love, coming my way.
Yeah, definitely. Call that next time, bro. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we chop it up, bro. Hey, be blessed, man. Stay ready, man.
Yeah, you too.
Stay ready and stay safe, man.
Yeah, you too, man. You be safe, bro.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm about to get up off of here in a minute. Y'all can call in if you want to call in. The number is 804-601-4015. I ain't got too much battery either. But the thing about what my brother was saying, I agree with most of what he was saying. But none of this stuff is by a design. None of this stuff is by accident, right? There are no coincidences. All of this stuff was set up for it to be this way, right? That's how they controlled empires. That's how they got, different nations to fight each other, right? They attacked both of them. Then they came to help them and said, look, your enemy is trying to do this to you. And then went to the other side and said, well, they're trying to do that to you. And then gave them the weapons and stepped back and let them kill each other. Now, when you study history, you study your enemy, which they don't want you to study. You'll see they're not creative. They're not that creative. They do the same things over and over, and they try to dress it up, right? And they did the same thing to split up black men and black women especially in the 60s, because, a lot of people think it was that rioting and the marching and we should overcome and all of that stuff. But no, it was when the people got fed up with getting punched and black men, women, and children start fighting back. So they had to break them up, right? And they used those tactics to break up the black family and have us fighting with each other. Because as long as we're fighting each other, we're not fighting them. They keep us from coming together to fight them. But none of it is by a coincidence. All of it is done on purpose. Now, I will say this, right? As black men, the one thing that we do have to be responsible for getting on code with ourselves, when I say that, I would say, it's not just us protecting, we just have to protect a black woman. We have to protect each other. We all have to protect each other. We are prisoners of war. We have to understand the situation we're in, right? We can't sit there and say, oh, I don't know you, so blah, 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 because they see us all as one big Negro. Understand, they may not know that fat white woman who's racist and wilding out in the store, but if you work in the store and she's stealing something and you go to hold her, they're going to come over there and say, hold on now, don't do that. It doesn't matter if they know her or not, because they understand a code, but it's when you do it, right? Don't get it twisted, like, because we always say, white people don't do this or no other group does that. Every other group does the same thing we do. It's just that in our situation, because we are in a state of emergency, everything we do stands out that much more. It makes us in a position where we are we cannot afford to sit there and have the same issues until we get to a certain place. Now, again, we are in a position where we can do whatever we want. We have a slate where we can create whatever society we want, make whatever laws we want, create a language that we want, call ourselves what we want. We can create whatever we want to do. We have that power. Understand who built this nation, and it couldn't have been built without you. And how many nations that we built on our own. And as a black man, I know for a fact, when you have an army nation or whatever, because like the brother was saying, I'm pretty sure us listening and, most of us are going to do what we have to do for our family. But as a collective, because we have to start seeing ourselves as a collective, because they see us as a collective, right? When as a man, if you let a slave owner come into whatever house you're staying in and rape your mother, your daughter, your wife, right in front of you, right in front of the family, or take them in the house for his guests for the night, and you do nothing, that energy builds up, and it's going to be some kind of resentment. Now, us on a collective level, and it starts individually. We be on code with ourselves, and it starts with your individual family, which turns into a neighborhood, a community, which turns into a city, which turns into a state, which turns into a nation. But that's the whole point of getting on code. We have to start doing things and seeing ourselves as the collective, because we have to respond with more urgency than they do. Right? Yeah, them Asians, I feel you. They go back into the stores. But like I said, I personally don't, because I see that as our people suffering from severe Stockholm syndrome. Right? That's a result of being told that you aren't anything. You of black hatred being instilled in us for hundreds of years. Now we have to start from where we are, building our children. We have to start building. That's the whole reason for our own schools. Was another reason, because the civil rights movement, they were looking for equal funding. It was Thurgood Marshall who said, no, we want to go to their schools. But really, it was about equal funding, because when you let integration happen, you lost not only the mind of black children, who their racial identity started being not taught to them, right? We start picking up the traits of we start picking up the traits of our oppressors even more, right? We imitate their relationships that they have with their women, right? Feminism is about their problem with their men. It has nothing to do with us. They talk about a patriarchy. You can't tell me 1 second in America where black men have been over white women. Not 1 second. It's not about patriarchy. Race is over everything in the system of white supremacy. And it's done on purpose. But we get confused and we get caught up in the issues, because yeah, we have issues, but it's not just us, right? All of these issues when it comes to dating and it's hard, it's not a coincidence, right? They make it hard. They don't want you repopulating. They don't want you to keep having children. They make everything harder and harder and harder. And it's not by a coincidence. But we can't really feed into it. We have to start doing what we have to do. We have to start getting on our own, supporting our own. right? Like I said, right now we can all, if we want to go out there and vote for our oppressors, right? Instead of voting for the lesser of two evils, let's start voting for the greater of two greats, right? Let's start picking black business people strictly to fund and grow black businesses that we all contribute to. And it don't matter if you got $1 or $1 million, anybody can contribute to it. But you got to make sure they stay transparent, because your enemy will always look to take over, because that's the thing that they fear the most. They can give you a little bit of paper money. It's when you start galvanizing the people, forming that unity, realizing you don't have to participate in their system. You can control your own, because guess what? The nations that see the black people, the nations where the black people are the most populated, tend to have the most natural resources. So you start to take advantage and take over and control your own lands that you're on, right? You start to have unity, and we start to trade and deal with each other globally. That's a problem that they cannot allow to keep going. That's a problem they cannot have. So they have to make sure that you're divided and conquered. But if we want to vote for, which racist is less racist, then we can certainly vote to get out of this situation that we're in. Because at the end of the day, we are all we got. But, as long as we suffer from, because we all have some sort of Stockholm syndrome, even if we don't think we do, we're all participating in the system of our oppressor. It's time that we start having the courage, because the system is designed to keep you destroyed. They destroy their own in the system, and it's designed to keep you at the bottom of that, to keep their own poor and to keep you under their poor, so that their own poor people don't realize how played that they are, that how much they're playing them. Right? They can always look at somebody under them so that they don't rise up against their own. These people are psychopaths. You cannot reason with a psychopath. You cannot talk your way out of a psychopath. You cannot make them feel guilty, or you cannot make them feel sorry for you. One thing that a psychopath does not have is empathy. Do you think that dude that killed George Floyd had empathy when he was sitting on his neck? Did that look like empathy in his eyes, or did that look like a psychopath? And we're standing on the side saying, hey, come on, please don't do that. We got to get that fear out of our heart. We got to stop letting them control us with fake money at that. We got to start standing up for one another. Our lives being taken has to mean more to us than being a part of a system designed to destroy us. We don't have any other choice, because they'll always give you a symbol. But guess what? That first black president, do you know what he did? He went over and said the Holocaust was the greatest atrocity in history and gave them reparations. When they said, what about reparations for black people? Well, hey, we need new schools in South Carolina for all children. When they say, you know, the LBGT, whatever community, they need more rights. Okay, we're going to pass something for them. Well, Trayvon Martin got shot down. Well, hey, we need to do something for all people. When it's you, it's all people. It's not a mistake. It's not an accident. And it's not even hidden. We can't worry about a new world order until we get from out the last world order. Stop spending Or stop trying to kill your own people for pieces of paper if you got a dead fucking person on it who would have lynched you. Why would you shoot your neighbor for that? Right? You can fight each other over the block and then the cop pull up and tell you both get off the block. That's not power. And it's not just about the money. Because you see that with LeBron James. He has the money to buy all of these blocks. But he says, I want accountability for a little black girl, and he got to apologize for that. You got to dig deep, because no matter what any of us would do, they see as LeBron James, right? It don't matter who you are. They see you as somebody who's going to fold when they tell you to fold. What's going on, Roberto? Bill Cosby. It didn't matter about Bill Cosby's money. They just took all of his money when they got ready. Because like a psychopath, when they're done with their tools, they can, not calling Bill Cosby or any of these people a tool, but they're going to use them when they can. That's what your enemy, that's what a psychopath does. They weaponize any and everything. And once they're done with their tool, they're going to discard it like it ain't nothing, like it's trash. So remember that before you be so quick to do anything for a piece of paper. If the person would have killed you on the piece of paper, right? If that person don't look like you, when you start seeing a person that look like you on your money, that means you're in control. Start loving yourself more than what they tell you to love, because when you love yourself, then you want to protect yourself. You want to survive, and if you see somebody that looks like yourself, you're going to want them to be protected and to survive. And it's not about a romance thing. It's not about a love thing. Because if I see a black man being attacked, we should be protecting him. You see George Floyd, we should be protecting him. But we're on the side screaming, hey, stop, he can't breathe, let him go. Not doing anything to save his brother's life. And for a group of people that always yells, no justice, no peace, we get the least amount of justice, but we're always the most peaceful. Don't let them tell you who your hero is. Look up history yourself and find your own hero. Shout out to Ida B. Wells, who broke down the lynch law, who told you it wasn't about white women lying about being raped and they thought the black man was this or black man was that. Half the time they knew the white woman was lying. They know who they're dealing with. They know who they are. It was about black people economically thriving when there was no illusion of inclusion. They said, how dare that Negro think he can be better than me? And do you know why this corporation of America allows it? Because the corporation needs their guard dogs coming after you. So you can't even go after who's really in charge. Because the poor white person who has nothing is out there doing all the massacres for the rich person who wouldn't give them a dime. Right? Who will charge them $1,000 for a shot of insulin. But they'll go to war for that corporation against you. But you know, it is what it is, man. I appreciate all of y'all for listening, man. I'm about to get started on the next video. I ain't do the last one. You know, I don't know. I got caught up. I'm about to start working on it. I just wanted to come and talk to the people. And you know, don't let your enemy control you, man. Everything that we talk about is self-love. Love yourself, man. Love who you are, man. Once you start loving yourself, right, you're going to want to survive like everything else in the universe. And you're going to no longer be putting up with being abused, right? They had to take all of that self-love out of you so they can continue to abuse you for as long as they want. But um as long as you want, you just start loving yourself, man. I'm not telling you nothing that George Washington told America, and they put his face on a mountain, and he was a psychopathic killer, right? But we're here to make them start turning over in their graves, right? It's time for them to pay. They're not going to keep getting away with what they're doing. We are in control of ourselves. As much as they attacked us, hundreds of years of attack and constant abuse and everything to make you hate yourself, and we still here loving ourselves. Shouts out to the sister Ida B. Wells, like I said, man, for exposing them. The first one who told us about how they used white women when it was really about economics. They're the same people. But, as always, man, we have, and by the way, make sure y'all subscribe to the other channel, the Forecast Radio 24. It's in the description. The next video will be up, and I'm trying to get it up in a day or two. It takes a while to get it up, but it's going to be on the other channel, not this one, the Forecast Radio 24. It's in the description, so I appreciate it. And as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.